We got the strangest controversy over the George Floyd tragedy involving the New York Knicks. Jim Dolan is being harshly criticized for sending an email to his employees essentially explaining why the Knicks would not be issuing any statement regarding the tragedy in Minnesota and its aftermath. Tony, you've seen and heard this criticism now. You have known Jim Dolan. You know the Knicks. What do you make of all of this?
Okay, so as I tell you all the time, the Knicks are a disaster as an organization. They have a terrible one-loss record. They have terrible public relations. They step on themselves all the time. Would it be so hard to just say this, something that took 10 seconds to write? And let me get it. We are shocked and saddened and appalled by what happened to George Floyd and what it says about our culture. While we think that we treat our employees fairly and equally, we will redouble our efforts to provide equal opportunity and a welcoming environment to all who enter our doors. Mike, would that, like, you can't do that? What position are you standing on that you don't want to release any? I don't understand it. I
don't understand the position. Is he on the position that I'm friends with Donald Trump and therefore he might not want this and I've contributed to his political efforts? I don't get it. Tony, here's what's so crazy about this. There's not another owner in the NBA that has hired more black or female executives in total.
Oh, you're right.
Than
Yes.
Jim Dolan.
Yes.
And yet,
Yeah.
Tony,
Yeah.
he's put a muzzle on his own people inside the Garden, apparently. And you know there are people inside who want to have a statement, who want to say something, who want to speak to this. Yet he does this. It's so contradictory. It's so confusing. You always tell me he's the worst owner in sports. And I always go, Tony, don't be so harsh, blah, 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 blah. This is damning.
I think that everybody is super sensitive about what is going on now and sort of uneased. And you look into your heart and you just say, this is wrong. We can't have this. We have to re-examine our positions. We have to make sure there is justice for all, not just justice for some. And to go out of your way to not take a public position, it brings everything down on you. I don't know, Mike, like
Tony,
everything else the Knicks do.
And especially at a time, I was going to mention a couple of things, Tony. Floyd Mayweather, who I, rip pretty harshly for some of the things I think he does that are just over the top. He says, and there's confirmation, he's paying for Floyd's funeral. Mark Cuban, to pick another owner in the NBA, Mark Cuban has come out and says, well, wait a minute. We've got to deal with people equally, and equally does not mean the same. And Mark Cuban has outlined a lot of things that he says he's going to change about his own outlook. And here's another owner, again, wading in. And I understand each person has his own comfort level. Tom Herman, the University of Texas men's football coach, talking about the treatment of black players on and off the floor. People are understanding that even if they are not particularly comfortable, they're going to have to talk about this publicly to their own constituencies, whoever they are. And here's a guy, Jim Dolan, who's been an owner for a long time. He's a public figure. He's in a band. He does all these things. And he can't even. And by the way, the San Antonio Spurs haven't issued a statement. They're the only other NBA team. But Greg Popovich, my God, he weighs in, and he weighs in like nobody else, completely without fear. And if Dolan went the other way, you could do whatever you want. But, Tony, the silence is just...
There's a phrase that we've been using over and over again, and it is tone deaf. And that is what this is. It's totally tone deaf.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.